Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to talk to you about stress and how to relate to it in a wholesome way. Usually, I tell people that we get stressed out when two conditions happen. The first condition is I want something to happen and it doesn't happen. For example, I want a piece of cake and there are no stores, cake stores open. Those two forces collide. One is the desire, I want, and then reality is the other force. That's, the first setup. And then the second setup to get stressed out works in a very similar way. It's when you don't want something to happen and it does happen. For example, when you get stuck in traffic and you don't want to be late, you have two forces crashing into each other there as well. And the tension that results from this is felt as stress, which, it feels really bad. And usually what we do to get rid of the stress is to change something of reality. Like, for example, we'll find a way to get that cake that we really want. Or we'll try to find a shortcut to get there on time. But sometimes we cannot do that and we're stuck with stress. Little Merlin. The Buddha gave us another option. When he was teaching what is the cause of stress, he said that clinging and desire are the main sources of stress. And if you get rid of clinging and if you drop desire, you're not going to feel this sort of stress. Just think about it. When you don't want cake and you can't get it, well, it's okay. There is no problem. You don't really want the cake. And if you don't have the urge to be on time and you're stuck in traffic, well, there's also no problem. But what if you have to be on time? You can't just be with the intention of not really caring or not having the intention to get to the meetings at the time you said you would. You'll get in trouble. Which is a pretty irresponsible way to deal with it, I guess, because, you don't want people to think bad things about you and your commitment and whether you're reliable or not. So that's a bad way to deal with stress. In fact, if the Buddha were alive, he would tell you that you're doing things wrong. Getting rid of the desire to be on time is not how you practice the Dharma. Somebody might say, well, isn't that a contradiction to what the Buddha taught? Didn't the Buddha say we should be rid of all desire, be free of craving, to not suffer? Well, yes, he did say that. But there's a slight misunderstanding. Buddhism is not about earning your way into irresponsible behavior. It's never been about that. And there's a lot of, people that criticize Buddhism as a spiritual path that will give you a green light to do all sorts of bad things. That certainly is very possible. And that's one of the reasons, the Buddha said we should also nurture a sense of ethics, a sense of morals. Meditation without ethics is, not so good. It's actually, it could be very harmful. If we go back to the example of being on time, the Buddha would say, well, you got to nurture your ethics, on being on time. So reality is going to play out, as it always does. And sometimes we're not going to be able to be perfect and our behavior is not going to be great. Sometimes things will happen and we'll be late. That's, the reality of things. But that doesn't mean you have to let go of your ethics. The intention, the wanting is open to reality, to whatever happens. I want to be on time, but I'm open to the possibility that it doesn't happen. And that's a whole different way of living. That's the best way of living. That's how you practice the Dharma. You do the right thing, but you're not clinging. You're not attached to outcomes. So give it a try. Talk to you later.